what is on my lens? Hold on. Is it good now? I can't tell. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another like come along and cook dinner with me. This is gonna be in my quarantine cooking series. So tonight I'm going to be making beef and broccoli. I'm so excited. I've been craving it, and so I decided that I was gonna make it tonight and I would bring you guys along. A lot of you said you wanted sort of like daily vlogs and you really liked this style of video, and I have to say I really like it too. It's really fun. I've been able to sort of just do my thing and not worry too much about the lighting and making sure that everything's perfect and rehearsed. Like, I can mess up and it's totally fine. Also, I've been wearing sweatshirts and sweats in every single video, and yes, that is how I normally dress. I just want to put that out there. It's very real, and I cannot do daily vlogs because that is a lot of work, and also my days are not like interesting. But I thought I would make this one a little bit more casual. I really have been filming this for like 3 minutes now. So I'm gonna cut the camera, I'll meet you in the kitchen, and we're gonna get started on my beef and broccoli, which is just such a simple recipe, but it is so good, you have to try it. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is marinate the beef. This is definitely crucial. Even if you can only do it for 5 minutes, I highly recommend it because it helps the meat soak up a lot more flavor. So I'm gonna put the marinade in the bowl, whisk it together, and then I'll cut my steak and add it to the bowl. So I've got the recipe on my phone. This will be linked in the description. It is on my website. We're gonna start with 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and I'm doubling this recipe, so 2 tablespoons. Math genius. Okay, 2 teaspoons of rice wine. I'm using sake, and if you're worried about the alcohol, it'll cook off because when you make this stir fry, the beef and broccoli, you have it on a really high heat. It gives a great caramelization, but also it cooks off any of that alcohol. So if you make this for your kids, they're not gonna get drunk off of the 4 teaspoons of sake that is in this, so don't worry. Next is 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil, a pinch of black pepper, then 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, but I left that in my pantry, so I'll be right back. The cornstarch is gonna act as almost like a coating on the beef. It's gonna give it that really nice sort of crispiness, and it's also really gonna help thicken the sauce. So we're gonna also be adding cornstarch into the sauce for the beef and broccoli, so you get that nice thick sort of luxurious texture, but it also helps to have it in the meat because it sort of gives it a coating, which I really like. I'm gonna give this a whisk. You don't want any cornstarch clumps. Now I'm going to cut up my steak into really thin pieces. This is so that it cooks really quickly, because the thing about a stir fry is you do a lot of prep beforehand. So you blanch your vegetables, you get all of your ingredients set up, you want your meats to be really thin, so when you cook it, from start to finish, it's like 2 minutes. So it's a super quick dish, but you also don't wanna be sitting there waiting for a huge hunk of steak to cook, and then it'll burn and nothing will cook at the same time. So just cut it really thin, save yourself the trouble. Okay, you're balancing on a box of cornstarch, so hopefully you don't fall. I got my cutting board. What's really nice about cutting your meat beforehand, or like before you put it in the marinade, is there's more surface area, so the marinade can soak into more of the meat, and then when it comes time to cook it, you just dump the whole thing and you don't have to take the meat out and cut it once it's already covered in the marinade. I'm gonna start by cutting it in half, like that. Now I can make cuts along here really easily, and it's a perfect slice. And I'm gonna add these to my bowl with our marinade mixture. So you want it to be really thin, just like that. I'm gonna go in with clean hands and massage this together to make sure that every single bit of that beef gets coated in the marinade. And then I'm gonna wash my hands very well. All right, you guys, I'm gonna let my beef marinate for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's about 4:40 right now, so we're at a really good pace to have sort of like an early family dinner. I'm gonna come back to you once this is done, and then I will show you the other steps to the dish. Well, hello, sir. Hi, baby. This is Jake. You guys have seen him and heard him. You won't stop barking, will you? And then that is Shadow. Mom, do you wanna say hi to the video? Hi. She's basking in the sun. Anyways, it has been about 20 minutes. I'm gonna get started on the other parts of this dish. I am going to cook some rice on the side. That's totally optional. You can cook this really however you want. You can have it with greens on the side. You can eat it plain. My sister and I like rice. My parents are probably just gonna eat it by itself. Anyways, I'm gonna cook the rice. That's self-explanatory. just follow the instructions on your bag of rice, box of rice, whatever. But I am gonna show you how I make the sauce. So let me get the recipe up. I'm gonna make in this little bowl. We're gonna start with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Again, I'm doubling it, so I'm gonna do more. Then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Honestly, it kind of just smells like a mix of soy sauce and brown sugar, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna do half a teaspoon of sesame oil. So a lot of the same flavors that are in the marinade are in the sauce. And then I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Again, I mentioned this before, it's gonna help thicken the sauce. And it's also in the marinade giving that beef a really nice coating. So I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons in here. All right, now I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of beef broth. So I'm gonna add that right in here. It's really hot. Ooh. So this is the liquid that the cornstarch is going to thicken. I'm just gonna give it a really good mix. I'll show you. Basically, you just wanna make sure you get rid of all those little cornstarch clumps like this, and then your sauce is good to go. Also, you can do this in a mason jar and just close the lid and shake it up really well, and that helps. But for some reason, I can't find our mason jars, so I'm just doing it in a little bowl, and that works too. Next up, I'm gonna prep our broccoli. I'm going to cut well, it says 12 ounces, but I'm doubling it. So I've got my bowl and my scale behind the broccoli. I don't know if you guys can see it. So I'm gonna chop it up and use the florets. All right, I've got my sauce, my broccoli, my steak, my grapeseed oil. The last thing we gotta do is grate our ginger. And this is my least favorite cooking ingredient preparation step of all time, but it's worth it. You definitely want fresh ginger in there. I'm just running this over that to grate it. I'm gonna get my ginger ready, and then I will meet you over at the stove, and we will get this whole process finished up and ready to go. So I am just waiting for the water to boil so I can blanch my broccoli. My rice is cooking, everything else is prepped. This is the last step, and while I'm waiting, I'm watching TikToks. My mom is filming me just like the good old days. I'm gonna put my broccoli in my boiling water, blanch it for literally like 10 to 15 seconds, and then take it out. I don't want it to splatter. It's a lot of broccoli. I did not put enough water in here. Just do it really quickly. You wanna do it until the broccoli is really bright and vibrant green, and that's how you know that it's cooked a little bit. You really just want the flavors and everything to sort of heat up and meld together. You're not really looking to fully cook the vegetable while it's in the wok or the pan or whatever you're using. Okay, I've got everything set up right here, all of my ingredients. I've got my pan. I am not using a wok this time because I'm making a double batch and I have a ton of stuff. So if I do it in a wok, there isn't gonna be as much surface area on the heat in order for me to make sure that all the meat gets a really good sear. So if you're doing a single batch and you have a wok, I highly recommend it, but I've got this gigantic pan because we're making a lot of beef and broccoli right now. My mom is gonna film it for me. This is the very last step. It's gonna go quick, so pay attention. I'm using grapeseed oil because it can handle really hot and really high heat. I'm gonna let that heat up for about 30 seconds. Okay, first step is the beef. So mom, you might wanna stand back a little. We've got really hot oil. You wanna try to get it in a single layer so as much of that steak is touching the pan. It's gonna get really nice and golden and crispy and caramelized. All right, I'm gonna give it a good stir. I'm gonna add in my ginger and give it another really good mix. You wanna make sure you're scraping the bottom too to get all of those nice caramelized bits off, because that is the flavor. I'm gonna add in my broccoli and my sauce, and then give it one final really good mix. All right, everybody, thank you for watching my video. I've got my gorgeous bowl of beef and broccoli. We added all of our favorite toppings. We've got sriracha, kimchi, soy sauce, like sesame sprinkles, so feel free to do that when you're making your own. My family is about to enjoy dinner right now, so I'm gonna end the video here. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you make the recipe, share with me, let me know, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, everybody.